the supply is not equal to demand, then it is called an unbalanced transportation problem. Supply is not equal to demand and the supply is greater than demand. We are going to add a dummy column with the total 22 and the all elements are 0, 0, 0. So the difference between the supply and the demand is to be added either in the row or in the column depending upon the supply is greater than the demand or demand is greater than the supply. Hello dear students, welcome to this session of Operation Research Over class. I am Mr. Niranjan, Faculty, Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence. Now in my previous class we have discussed regarding the transportation problems solving by the method of northwest corner method, least cost method and Vogels approximation method if the given problem is a balanced transportation problem. Now in this session I am going to take one unbalanced transportation problem. I will solve all the three methods. So by using northwest corner method, least cost method and Vogels method, I will solve one unbalanced transportation problem. Now let us know regarding what is meant by an unbalanced transportation and what are the conditions we are going to apply to solve an unbalanced transportation problem. Now conversion of unbalanced transportation problem into a balanced transportation. If the supply is not equal to demand, then the problem is said to be an unbalanced transportation problem. If the supply is not equal to demand, then it is called an unbalanced transportation problem. So how to convert an unbalanced transportation problem into a balanced transportation problem? Now just see the supply and the demand. If the total supply is greater than the total demand, if the total supply is greater than the demand, if the supply is greater than the demand, a dummy destination demand is added to the table. So when the total supply is greater than the total demand, then a dummy destination is added to the table. The demand of the destination is given by the total supply minus total demand. So here the difference in the total supply and the demand is to be taken. So the demand of the destination is given by total supply minus total demand. When the demand is greater than the supply, if the total demand is greater than the total supply, a dummy source, that is supply, is added. See here, when the supply is greater than the demand, if the supply is greater than the demand, we are going to add demand. So that is, if supply is greater than the total demand, a dummy destination, that is the demand, is added to the table. If the demand is greater than the total supply, a dummy source, that is the supply, is added to the table. The supply of the source is given by the total demand minus total supply. Here also total supply minus total demand. So the difference between the supply and the demand is to be added either in the row or in the column depending upon the supply is greater than the demand or demand is greater than the supply. Okay. Now let us take an example. Now let us come to the problem. Solve the transportation problem using northwest corner method. Now let us solve this using, this is north, south, east and west. So identify the northwest element, that is the left topmost element, and simplify. That is using northwest corner method. Now before that, let us check whether this is a balanced or unbalanced transportation problem. Now add this. If you add, what you will get? 5 plus 5, 10 plus 5, 15 plus 2 is 7, 17, 4 plus 3 is 7, 7 plus 2 is 9 plus 1 is 10 plus 1 is 117. So the supply is 117. Demand 30 plus 30 plus 20, 50, 50, 60, 70, 80, 80 plus 15 is 95. 95 is the demand. So the supply is equal to 117 and the demand is 95. Here supply is greater than the demand and the difference is 117 minus 95, this is equal to 22. So we are going to take 22 and by adding a dummy. So here, since the supply is greater than the demand, we are going to add one dummy column with 0, 0, 0 and the total demand is equal to 22. That's it. Okay. Now let us come to the conversion part. So here the modified form is, let us take the column F. F contains all the entries as 0, 0, 0 and the total demand is equal to 22. So if you add, the supply is 117 and the demand is also equal to 117. So here the supply is equal to demand. Total supply is equal to total demand is equal to 117. Therefore, this is a balanced transportation problem. So now this becomes a balanced transportation. Now this balanced transportation can be solved using northwest corner method. Now how to solve the problem? So in northwest corner, the first step is identify the north element, that is the left topmost element in the given table. So the left topmost element is 5. So corresponding to this 5, identify the demand and the supply. The demand is 30 and the supply is equal to 15. Which is the minimum value? The minimum value is the supply. So we can allocate 15 here. Minimum is 15. This becomes 15 minus 15 is equal to 0. Here just you can subtract 15, then you will get 15 here. So once this becomes 0 means the entire elements get cancelled. Okay. Now let us identify the next north element. Next north element is 3. 3 is the next north element. Corresponding to this north element 3, just find out the supply and the demand. Demand is equal to 15 and the supply is equal to 25. Which is the least value? 15 is the least value. That means the demand is less. I can allocate 15 here. 15 minus 15, this becomes 0. You can subtract 15 from this. This is equal to 10. Once this becomes 0 means this all the elements get cancelled. Okay. Now similarly find out the next north element. North element is 9. So for this just identify the demand is 20 and the supply is equal to 10. Which is the least value? 10 is the least value. You can allocate 10 here. This 10 minus 10 becomes 0. This will become 0 and here we can subtract 10. Then this will yields to 10. Now once if this becomes 0 means we can cancel all the elements here. Next, now let us come to the next north element. The north element is 2 here. So for this 2, the demand is 10 and the supply is equal to 42. This is the least value. We can allocate 10 here. 10 minus 10, this is 0. 42 minus 10 is equal to 32 we will get. So once this becomes 0 means we can cancel these elements. Now next come to the next north element is 7. Minimum value is 15 because the demand is 15 and the supply is equal to 32. I can allocate 15 years. This 15 minus 15 becomes 0. So corresponding to this subtract 15 here. So what you will get? 32 minus 15 is equal to 17. Now once this becomes 0 means we can cancel all the elements. Again find out the next north element. The north element is 6. So for this the demand is 10 and the supply is equal to 17. So the minimum value is 10. We can allocate 10 here. 10 minus 10, this becomes 0. Corresponding to this we are going to remove 10 from this. What is the minimum value is 7. Once this becomes 0 means we can cancel. And now find out the last north element. The north element is 5. Okay. So here the demand and the least demand is 20 and the supply is equal to 7. So therefore we can allocate 7 here. Then what you will get? 20 minus 7. 20 minus 7 is nothing but 13. Here this becomes 0. That's equal to 0. Once this becomes 0 means we can cancel all the elements and the last element is 9. So here just for this 9, the demand is 13 and the supply is equal to 35. If I add 13 here, then this 13 minus 13 becomes 0, okay, and 35 minus 13, 35 minus 13 is equal to 22. Once this becomes 0 means we can cancel. See what is left over here. The last element is the demand and the supply. Demand is equal to 22 and the supply is also equal to 22. So we can write this 22 here. 22 minus 22 for this last element is 0. The 22 here, 22 minus 22 0. Again 22 minus 22 is also equal to 0. Supply is equal to demand is equal to 0. That's it. This is how we are going to calculate the least cost using the northwest corner method. Now, find out the solution. To find the solution, so just here we are going to get the solutions. These are the two values. Again, this is one more value. Now, therefore, the total cost of the transportation is, therefore, the total cost of transportation is equal to, let me multiply, 15 into 5 plus 15 into 3 plus 10 into 9 plus 10 into 2 plus 15 into 7 plus 15 into 7 plus 10 into 6 plus 7 into 5 plus 7 into 5 plus 13 into 9 plus 22 into 0. So these are the values. Now this is equal to 15 into 5, 15 5s are 75 plus 15 3s are 45 plus 10 into 9 is 90, 10 into 2 is 20. So 15 into 7 is 105, this is 105 plus 10 into 6 is 60, 7 5s are 35, 13 9s are 117 plus 0. So if you add, you will get 547. So therefore, the total cost is rupees 547 using northwest corner method. So in first northwest corner method, the solution is rupees 547. Okay. Now let us come to the next method, the second method. Solve using least cost method. Okay. Here see the supply and the demand. Here also the supply and the demand is not equal. The supply is 117 and the demand is 95. So they are not equal. What is the difference? The difference between these two is 22. Same problem we are taking. Since the supply is greater than the demand, as usual we are going to add a dummy column. So here we have added a dummy column F000 with the total 22. If you add, the supply is 117, demand is also 1 hour. So the supply is equal to demand is equal to 117. The same problem I have taken. See here the supply is not equal to demand. Therefore, supply is not equal to demand and the supply is greater than demand. We are going to add a dummy column with the total 22 and the all elements are 0 0 0. So then this becomes a balanced transportation. Supply is equal to 117, demand is also equal to 117. Now this can be solved using least cost method. The name itself indicates, first identify the least value in the cell. In the first cell here, just in the cell, the first least value is 0. Since this is the least value, for this the supply is equal to 15 and the demand is equal to 22. The supply is 15, we can allocate 15 here. This 15 minus 15 becomes 0. Here if we subtract 15, 22 minus 15 is 7. Once this becomes 0 means the entire row gets cancelled. Okay. Now let us come to the next minimum. Next minimum value is also 0. So the least value is 7 in the demand. We can allocate 7 here and minus 7, this is 7, this becomes 0. You can cancel this entire row. So 25 minus 7 is equal to 18. Now let us come to the next least value. What is the next least value in the table? The next least value is, see, 2 is the next least value. We don't have 1 is get cancelled, 2. So this 2 is correspond to the demand of 20 and the supply is 42. So the demand is 20, we can allocate 20 here, this gets cancelled, and if you subtract 20 from this, you will get 22. So once this gets cancelled, mean we can cancel this entire column. Now next least value. The next least value we have in the table is 3. So for 3 the demand is 30 and the supply is 18. So minimum value is 18. We can allocate 18. 30 minus 18 is equal to 12. Here you can subtract 18. This becomes 0. Once this becomes 0 means we can cancel this entire row. Okay. Now let's identify the least value. The next least value is 4. So there are 4 values. We can take any one from this. Now let us take the first 4. This is the least value. So the demand is 12 and the supply is equal to 22. We can allocate 12 here. This becomes 0. If you subtract 12 here, you will get 10. So once this becomes 0 means we can cancel this. Next least value. So these are the elements left. Here the next least value is 4. For the 4, the demand is 10 and the supply is also 10. Supply is equal to 35. Demand is the least. If you subtract, this is 0 and minus 10 will give 25. So this is also get cancelled. Next, what are the elements left? 7, 5, 9, 10. Here the least value is 5. For this 5, the demand is 10, supply is 10 and the demand is 20. 10 is the least value. We can subtract 10 here. This becomes 0. So this is 0 and here we are going to allocate 10. This becomes 0. Once this becomes 0 means this gets cancelled. Now, last elements we have 9 and 10. What is the least value? Least value is 9. For this 9, the demand is 10 and the supply is 25. We can allocate 10 here. So 10 minus 10 becomes 0. This is minus 10 becomes 15. Okay, once this becomes 0 means we can cancel this also. This is also cancelled. And the last element remaining is, what is the last element remaining? Here it is 10. For this 10, see the supply and the demand is 15, supply is also 15. We can allocate 15 here. 15 minus 15, 0. Again 15 minus 15 is also equal to 0. So this is also 0. That means this will also get cancelled. So everything gets cancelled and find out the solution for this. So just now, these are the 3 values. Again the next one we have this 2, 0 integer number 0. It won't change any solution. That's it. So let us find out the solution. Now therefore the total cost of the transportation is equal to, so first 15 into 0 plus, first row con, 18 into 3 plus 7 into 0. 18 into 3 plus 7 into 0. Next, first row, second row, third row, 12 into 4, 20 into 2. 12 into 4 plus 20 into 2. 12 into 4 plus 20 into 2 plus 10 into 5 plus 15 into 10 plus 10 into 4 plus 10 into 9. These are the values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right. Now this 15 into 0 is 0, 18 into 3 is 54 plus 7 into 0 is 0, 12 into 4 is 48, 20 into 2 is 40 plus 10 into 5 is 50 plus 15 into 10 is 150 plus 4 into 10 is 40 plus 10 into 9 is 90. So if you add this, what is the answer you are going to get? 472. So therefore the cost of transportation is rupees 472. So in this method, in least cost method, what is the answer we are getting? Rupees 470. Okay. In the first method we got, what is the answer we got? 547. So here second method it is 472. That's all for today's session. Let us meet with a different concept in the next class. Thank you very much.